Welcome to Horror Stories Fanatics. If you like this type of content, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell sign so you don't miss any of our posts. The lighthouse keeper's existence was one of solitude, yet loneliness was a stranger. His company were the phantoms of drowned sailors, their specters, bloated and dripping, visiting him nightly. They haunted the corridors of his dreams and the periphery of his waking hours, an ever-present reminder of the perilous sea that pounded mercilessly against the cliffs below the lighthouse. Yet the most horrific of all incidents came on an otherwise ordinary day, when the lighthouse keeper was found drowned, not in the sea, but within the austere stone walls of his lighthouse, a gruesome testimony to his spectral companion's watery fate. The investigators who arrived at the grisly scene were baffled. They could not fathom how a man could drown within the confines of the lighthouse, where there was no body of water, nor any evidence of a substantial leak. The keeper's body was found sprawled on the spiral staircase, his limbs twisted unnaturally, his face frozen in a mask of terror. His eyes, wide open, seemed to gaze into a realm beyond the mortal. The local folk, already weary of the spectral tales surrounding the lighthouse, muttered among themselves, "The sea has claimed him." The whispers grew louder as the investigators left, their faces pale and their questions unanswered. The townsfolk viewed the lighthouse with renewed fear, a monstrous sentinel that harbored specters and claimed lives. A new keeper was appointed, a burly man with sun-weathered skin and a heart hardened by years at sea. He showed no fear of his predecessor's fate, declaring boldly, "Ghosts are but tales spun by the fearful." Yet deep within, he held a sense of dread, a seed sown by the tales of drowned sailors and the mysterious death of the previous keeper. As nights turned into weeks, the new keeper maintained his vigil. His nights were plagued with dreams of drowned sailors, their hollow eyes accusing, their spectral fingers reaching for him from the frothy depths. In his waking hours, he would sometimes think he saw figures moving in the periphery, only to vanish when he turned to look. One particularly stormy night, the keeper awoke with a start. The spectral figures he had grown used to in his dreams were now standing in his room. Their eyes, like hollow pits, stared at him in silent accusation, and their fingers pointed him to the staircase where the previous keeper had met his end. The temperature in the room dropped sharply, and the keeper could almost taste the saltiness of the sea. His heart pounded in his chest as he rose to follow the spectral sailors. The lighthouse had claimed one life already. He wondered if he was to be the next. The sea roared outside, crashing mercilessly against the cliff, as if in anticipation of another soul to claim. The lighthouse stood silent and ominous, its beacon cutting through the darkness, a grim reminder of the spectral company he kept. With a deep breath, the keeper stepped onto the staircase, each creak of the wooden steps echoing loudly in his ears. The spectral figures led him down to the foot of the lighthouse, their ghostly forms casting long shadows on the walls. As he reached the bottom, they gestured towards the small door leading to the rocky shore. Hesitant but resolved, the keeper pushed open the door and stepped outside. The wind howled around him, whipping his hair and cloak wildly, but his eyes were fixed on a single point, the spot where the previous keeper had been found. His heart felt heavy, but he refused to let fear consume him. There, amidst the thunderous roar of the waves and shrieking wind, he made a silent promise to the spectral sailors, to the unseen force that had claimed his predecessor. He vowed to respect the sea and its fallen, and never to dismiss their presence. The spectral figures seemed to nod in approval before dissolving into the mist. The keeper felt a chilling wind blow past him, but when he turned back, the lighthouse stood alone against the stormy sea, its beacon a lonely sentinel in the night. As dawn broke, the storm passed, leaving behind a calm sea and a clear sky. The keeper stood at the edge of the cliff, watching the sunrise. He felt different, changed in some way. The spectral visit had reshaped him and had instilled in him a profound respect for the sea, its power, and its secrets. He turned back to the lighthouse, its beacon now extinguished in the daylight. A sense of duty welled up within him, a commitment not just to the lighthouse, but to the spirits it harbored. He knew his life had taken an unexpected turn, becoming a thread in the woven tapestry of tales the lighthouse held within its stone walls. With a final glance at the sea, the keeper returned to his duties, stepping into the lighthouse that was now both his charge and his home. The spectral sailors were gone, but their presence lingered, a silent testament to the keeper's vow. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and the keeper became well attuned to his solitary lifestyle. He found comfort in his routine, in the rhythmic sounds of the waves crashing against the cliffs, and in the company of the spectral sailors who had now become a part of his life. He would often find himself talking to them, sharing stories of the world beyond the sea, tales he had read in books or heard in passing. He hoped his words provided them with some connection to the world they had left behind. His days were filled with the routine maintenance of the lighthouse, ensuring the beacon was always ready to guide ships safely home. His nights, though, were his own, spent in quiet solitude, under the watchful eyes of the spectral sailors. He felt a deep connection to these silent figures, a bond forged in respect and a shared duty. Their spectral presence provided an odd sort of companionship on the otherwise lonely nights at the lighthouse. This was his life now, amidst the ebb and flow of the sea, under the watchful eye of the lighthouse, and in the company of the spectral sailors. And he wouldn't have it any other way. As the tides of time ebbed and flowed, the keeper and spectral sailors were bound in an eternal, unchanging ballet, a dance orchestrated by the rhythm of the lighthouse. Once a solitary figure, the keeper found solace and companionship in the silent watchers, their presence a soothing reminder of the sea's eternal symphony. But as time wore on, an elusive sense of change began to infiltrate their timeless existence. The lighthouse, a symbol of unity and connection between the living and spectral, the sea and shore, past and present, seemed to harbor a hidden truth, a secret waiting to be unveiled. The keeper's narrative, interweaved with the lighthouse's history, was about to take a turn, adding a new layer of mystery to his solemn vow, his duty, and the unexpected fellowship he shared with the spectral sailors. An unforeseen twist in the tale loomed on the horizon, promising to shroud the lighthouse in a captivating suspense. Thanks for watching Horror Stories Fanatics.